So what challenges did you run into? Was there primarily was software the leading driver at the team when you bought the company? If it wasn't, how did you implement that culture of, hey, you're going to use the software or you're out of here? I mean, was that essentially what you said?
I mean, it's implemented and ingrained so deep into our processes that there's no choice. Like you're either using
Mm,
it or you're not able to do your job. Um, and that might sound a little sad, but we're that reliant on software. Um, but it's kind of the reality of the world we live in. And if we lost it all tomorrow, we could certainly run our company without it because we have backup, you know, processes and procedures for something like that. But essentially, I think, first it starts with, I'm going to kind of go back to what I said earlier about a core values fit, because when I was trying to implement like just Builder Trend alone in my Minnesota location, I was having a extremely hard time with getting some of my staff to do things like daily logs and just simple things. They just couldn't see the benefit of it. Um, and here in Colorado, like they were lacking processes and just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. So I had a team that was like eager to learn and implement some things, which was super helpful for me. But I think it's important when you roll out a software, you don't want to just like cram it on everyone all at the same time, right? Like the reality is your staff are very busy. They're doing their jobs. They're trying to like focus on what's in front of them. They don't want to look to the side and say, "Oh, all right, I have to learn this now too," and deal with these three clients over here and everything else. So I think it's important to have like a good rollout plan that discusses with the team, here's why we're doing this, here's the future outcome of us doing this, and this is the direction we're going to go. It's okay if you don't love it, but you need to learn it and implement it. And so that's kind of like step one. And then step two is making sure you provide the training and support that they need. So I think a lot of, especially small businesses are very slammed for time, and the owners, they're not trainers, they're business owners. They're just doing what they know best. And so I think it's important to, if you're not good at training, to have someone that's good at training and kind of like responsible for that, rolling that process out. And really just providing that support. So we typically start with like an in-person training and then making sure that we're checking in with them and backing it up and supporting that training process until they're comfortable with using it.
okay. So I'm always
Mhm.
curious, and with Monday.com, there's probably not an onboarding that you can do with Monday. Maybe there is. I'm sure you could find a Monday.com expert, but you did it all yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was,
And probably YouTube
mhm.
videos, stuff like that, but you did it all yourself primarily?
Yeah. I would say like I'm tech savvy to the point where I learn by physically doing. So both with Builder Trend and Monday,
Yeah.
the first thing I do is I spend a bunch of time in there myself figuring out what its capabilities are, testing and breaking things, and
Yeah.
you know, and I'm trying different things and kind of seeing how I wanted it laid out. But really, my admin assistant was super helpful for building most of
Okay.
Monday.com out. So I communicated to her what I wanted. She would research and figure out like, here's all the ways we can do it. Which way do you want to go? And then she would work on building it out.
Okay. Fantastic. Now, on the Builder Trend side, I know there's onboarding that they
Yeah.
provide. Maybe you pay for it. What was it like actually implementing that? Because it is a complex software and it's
Yeah.
not necessarily intuitive from the first
Yeah,
glance.
totally. So you're right. All those companies definitely offer like an onboarding. But I'm gonna reiterate your comment you said earlier that they also don't have the best support. Like Builder Trend's also a
Yes.
blank slate when you start with it. You can't just go in there and start
Yeah.
estimating if you don't have something that you've built out for estimating. It just doesn't work that way. So when I first started with Builder Trend, we had to pick the features that were most important to us for the size and team that we were at the time. And then I spent essentially a period of 2 years like building that out and then training my staff. And then when I came to Colorado, like Builder Trend does have a paid training feature you can use where they help you with systems and process and rolling that out. And so we had Builder Trim built out to a point where it was like ready to use across both locations. And we paid for that. And they came out and they documented everything that we did and then rolled it into like an SOP doc. And then anytime a staff member had a problem with like how we did something, like Builder Trend had that on record, and so they could then train my staff for it. So it's just kind of like figuring out
Wow.
like what's the
What does that cost? I'm just
Wow.
curious
Wow.
what that costs.
I think it was like 12 grand. It was
12 grand. And
yeah.
is that just like a one time, or are you paying it every year?
No, it's a one time. Of course, if you change from the like operating procedures and things like that, if I remember correctly, they call it like on-site consulting or something like that. And
Okay.
basically, it's a period of a few months where they kind of get to learn what your business does. They'll help you build some things out. Um, it's kind of amazing though to see how many Builder Trend employees don't know their software as well as I do. Um, so I
I had the
was.
exact same issue. Yes, we helped a roofing company get set up on Builder
Mhm,
Trend, and there was it's been 4 years now. I don't remember the exact
mhm,
instance, but there was something that was going on, and then employers like, "Where are you?" Like they didn't. So yeah, the support was
yeah,
lackluster.
yeah, and they've gotten
Yeah,
better, but it's like
yeah,
we had them fly out here for training, so all my staff was here, and we basically spent, if I remember correctly, like 2 days going through every spot within Builder Trend. Um, I'd say it's definitely helpful for like reinforcing the use of it and getting people comfortable. But a long-term training plan would be much better. So what I do now
yeah.
is record how we use specific things and wrap them into a video. And then we host those videos on an online course host management platform for e-learning.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, I think it's less about how you've approached building out the software
Mhm.
and, structuring it to your company, and more about how you've supported your employees in training them. That's been the biggest lever for you. And I see
Totally.
that too many times with people. They buy the software, it's going to be this wonderful solution
Mhm.
for us. Maybe they spend the time to implement it and get all of their stuff into the software,
Yeah.
but then the training is like, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
And they don't get the response they're looking for, and then they're frustrated at the software, when in reality, they haven't really set their team up for
Yeah.
success.
Exactly. And that's what it comes down to, right? Like your employees don't want a hard job. They don't want to have a hard life,
Yeah,
you know? So if this software truly makes their life easier, like they're going to want to do it, but you have to show them the way and support them through that journey. And
yeah,
eventually it'll catch on. And secondly, I think you have to be really organized the first time you lay out a major software change. It's like training. Like if you hosted a all day company training, which we happen to do once a quarter, but I put a big emphasis around you you want it to be structured and organized and well laid out, because if within the first 10 minutes of having everyone in the room they feel like this is a waste of time, you're they've automatically tuned out. You're not really going to get through to them as well. So I think putting a lot of thought and care into that implementation process and training process is extremely huge.